everybody, I just want to apologize if we have to bail out because we're waiting on this important Microsoft event. Stephen, you just heard our conversation with Derek Thompson and Kyle Bass and others. Do you believe that what's happening in the stock market, which is ugly and terrible and awful, will translate to the American economy? And is the market predicting a recession?
Well, the market is certainly very concerned about a recession. I think in terms of whether it will translate, it really depends on how long it lasts. I mean, we've had plenty of episodes where the markets have moved drastically over a couple of days, and then, whatever, something happens and it goes back the other way. I don't think 1 or 2 days is necessarily going to make or break the economy, but certainly if financial conditions tighten and they stay tighter, that will be a problem.
Stephen, just kind of bring some of your experience here into the fold. So we're talking about sharp 2-day sell-offs. We're talking about analogies to 2008 and 2020 in terms of these declines. Obviously, there's a lot of differences between now and then as well. So what are the similarities? What are the differences? What strikes you as most important for the economy now?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is that this, if I can put it this way, this calamity is entirely man-made, right? I mean, at any point in time, in theory, President Trump could come out and declare victory, as Derek suggested, and shift tack. And the economy seemed to be in pretty solid shape before Wednesday. So we could easily get back to something like that. I don't think that sort of a quick reversal was ever viewed as in the cards in either 2008 or 2020. So I think that's a big difference. And to me, at least at the margin, that does kind of hamstring the Fed a little bit, right? Because monetary policy works with a pretty long lag, and the Fed doesn't want to panic and react precipitously to something that might not be around in a month or 6 months or ever how long it's going to take for their policy moves to really take full effect.
I think that's exactly right, especially when you get a jobs report as strong as the one that it's ironic. It's probably the worst piece of news that the market could have gotten. If we added 40,000 jobs last month or were negative, I think the chair's speech would have had a very different tone.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, I think there's no doubt that Chairman Powell and the Fed are stuck in a really difficult position. As with any negative supply shock, the tariff situation means that not only will growth be weaker, but inflation will be higher. And of course, the Fed can't address both of those problems at the same time. So they have to decide. And I think you've heard from Powell and others that they're a little bit torn between whether the bigger issue for them is going to be slower growth or higher inflation. If the severity of the market moves is any indication of what might be in store for the economy, then I think ultimately they're going to have to move in that direction, but I don't think they're in any rush to do so.
Yeah, and Derek Thompson is still with us, the Atlantic co-author of the best-selling book, Abundance. And so, Derek, your book is literally about growing the pie, sort of growing and you've taken, by the way, you and Ezra Klein have taken a lot of heat from the left. They're like, well, this is not traditional progressive ideals. Donald Trump, I traveled the country before the election. I met with people who said, I've been a Democrat my whole life, but I'm a labor Democrat and I'm voting for Trump because he supports jobs. Is it clear to you who anybody is these days when you've got people coming on the show that are ostensibly Republicans who are like, we don't give a crap if the stock market crashes, if it's going to bring down interest rates? I don't know which side is up right now.
What bothers me most, honestly, is not that I don't know which side is which. It's that I don't think the folks who are in charge know what they're doing or why. If you look at the justifications for this policy, they're all over the place. You've got Peter Navarro saying that tariffs are going to raise $600 billion a year. That suggests they're going to remain in place. You've got the tech folks who are associated with the Trump White House saying that actually this is just an opening negotiation tactic to force other countries to bring down their tariffs, and then we'll bring down ours. Well, wait, pause. You cannot raise taxes with a tariff that's designed to go away. So already you have parts 1 and 2 not making any sense. Then you have this third strategy that's sort of Stephen Mirren's idea that what we need to do is de-dollarization. Well, you just showed about 30 seconds ago that the dollar is actually appreciating right now because the entire global economy is puking. I don't think the folks in charge know what they're doing or why. And the reason that scares me, on top of all of the obvious, is that there's this theory that Donald Trump is this mastermind of uncertainty. And there's some reason to this, that if you have someone who is so great about uncertainty, they can get other countries to do what we want them to do. But the problem is that uncertainty is a double-edged sword. Domestic businesses need certainty to know how to invest. Domestic manufacturers need certainty to understand how to expand. If there's uncertainty in terms of our trade and tax and spending policy, how is a manufacturing company supposed to figure out how it's supposed to finance a doubling of their factory base? Yeah. They cannot do it. What we need now is absolute clear certainty. And as the previous guest said, going into January, you had a growing economy with declining inflation and rising employment, and there was no situation that required us to essentially yank out the oxygen as we're trying to climb Mount Everest. We can always just plug the oxygen back in. We could do it. Trump could have his phone-a-thon or something, but it doesn't seem to be happening right now.
This was supposed to be the most pro-business administration that we have seen. It's early. But right now, you wonder what CEOs are thinking as they watch their stock price go down 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% in a matter of days. Derek Thompson, the book Abundance, and The Atlantic, Stephen Stanley, Santander, gentlemen both, we appreciate it. We are